Good morning, Shabbat Shalom listeners. Welcome to a new episode of the Hour of Restoration, coming to you live from Amsterdam every Sabbath morning from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Know that you can follow us live on our Facebook page, The Hour of Restoration, our YouTube channel, and you can also listen to us via Higher Radio. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel or follow us on Instagram for weekly updates. As you have seen on our Instagram page and on our Facebook, this week we will start a brand new theme, the Gathering of the Saints Part 1, and then we will zoom into the Old Testament. But of course, we will start with a table talk concerning the topic of last week. That was the ending of the 7 churches, and we looked at the church of Laodicea. Good morning once again, dear listeners. This is the Hour of Restoration. Today we'll be discussing a brand new theme and also our first topic. We're going to look at the gathering of the saints and also at the Old Testament. But before we do that, you know of us, we start with a table talk and we're going to discuss Laodicea, the last of the 7 churches in Revelations. But before we start, I have 2 of my own seated here before me. I have Sister Helena. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm fine, eh? And how are you doing, Sam?
I'm feeling great.
You're feeling great.
Yes.
Why?
Yeah, life has been good.
Oh, in which ways?
Yeah, financially, school.
Financially.
For the stage I am right now, I'm satisfied. So I'm also thankful. That's why I'm saying it's going great.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the time I just say fine, but when it's great, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Okay.
it.
And you say the stage that you are in. Which stage are you in?
No, I just mean with my life, my age. That's more what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You said financially first,
I just set goals for myself for each age.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm meeting those goals, it's a great feeling for myself.
Yeah.
And also for school, because I had a tough last period.
Yeah.
So I had to do a lot of resits, but in the end I passed them all. So
That's
that
really
was
good.
it was a moment that I just reflected and I thought, oh, I'm proud of myself for one of the first times.
Oh.
Because I'm not the one that gets proud of the things that I achieve.
Mm-hmm.
But at this moment I really had a lot to do. I complained a lot towards my sister that it wasn't going that great.
Mm-hmm.
But I managed to recover it, and yeah.
Now
I'm
it's
happy.
going great. Yeah, that's good to hear. Good to hear that's going great in all areas of your life, and also that when you set your goals, you can meet them as well,
Yes.
right? Okay, that's good to hear. Thank you for being here. And Helena, how has life been for you past couple of months, weeks, days?
Yeah, good, I would say. Yeah, in life you go through ups and downs, and I'm managing.
Yeah, managing, and both of you now have holidays, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Any plans for the summer vacation?
I'm just thinking about work, and that's currently all that is on my mind.
Okay, so you're not going anywhere, for example?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, you, Helena?
Yeah, also work, and I'll go a few places as well. Yeah.
Okay, no, good to hear. Yeah, I'm doing fine as well. Thank you.
But how are you doing?
No, I'm doing fine as well. Great weather. As soon as
Yes.
the sun comes out, really helps me wake up, do the things that I need to do. And I don't know, I'm just a bit more cheerful in the summer.
Yeah, I think
So,
everybody has that. I think.
And then in the winter, you're a little bit more,
Man.
I wouldn't say down, but you guys get what I mean.
Yeah.
So that being said, last week we concluded the theme, the 7 churches. So overall, what was your impression of the theme, and what are some of the things that you learned, Helena?
Yeah, I thought it was a very insightful theme, because in the Bible, like, you read the 7 churches, I never knew like what it was, why it was mentioned, and how it could how do you say it? What do you say it? How you can like see it now, what it also mean like in these times. And so like all the churches has their own, like, how do you say it, points and things that we also see nowadays, like the false doctrines, the false prophets and stuff. So that made it that I can relate on the things that were shared about those 7 assemblies. So it was
very insightful. Yeah. And also a lot of information, and
a lot. True. A lot, but that's why it was nice that we can read along and saw the pictures throughout the PowerPoints that make it, how do you say, you can understand it like better, not everything, but because it is visual, you can like, oh, that's what it means. So the PowerPoint.
I think that helped a lot of our listeners and viewers at home as well, that we now use PowerPoints to show the verses, but also use illustrations to create a better idea. And I hope that for especially the people at home, that it helps them to study and get a sense of what we're talking about, because sometimes we can talk and we can use
true.
verses, but it just helps if you are able to visualize that. And Samuel, how was it for you last theme?
Yeah, it was more of the same because the first couple of times I heard about the 7 churches, it seemed like they were always talking about ancient civilization, so not something that happens in the current day and age.
Yeah.
But when we heard the messages the couple of past weeks, you just get a reflection of how society is right now and how you can also find these 7 churches in the manner how we and how we act as a people. So that was one of the most interesting things, because you could see like the hypocrisy.
Yeah.
That is one of the most, I think, the most common characteristics of the 7 churches of the last church, and you can see that in this age that is the one that most hinders a lot of people. So it is more the reflection that it gave us, so that you can also see throughout another lens, but that you can see the Bible in real life. You can just see it around you and even see it in the mirror, that I'm one of these churches,
Exactly.
and this is the way how we act. And it was already told before it happened, but we just oftentimes we just see it as something that happened years ago, and not even 10 years ago, but thousands of years ago, that we aren't a part of that. But this makes you see that it still happens.
It's still happening in our current day. And because you said it is also a way of reflecting for yourself, I was wondering, was there a particular church that or a particular assembly that you could see yourself in, or maybe when you went to church, is there something that you saw similarities in?
No, not yet. I didn't come to that point, to be honest. I didn't reflect on which church do I belong to. It was more taking in the information, but I haven't pondered about it yet.
Okay. And you, Elena?
Yeah, I was also not how do you say it? Not.
You can say it in Dutch.
Ja. Nee, ik heb er niet echt helemaal naar gekeken, but there are like a few points, like when I used to go to church, about the doctrines that they are teaching, like in the church is only about like prosperity and only like good things, but also that the teachings that they are giving is formed in a way to like keep the people like coming to church, and not really about what is stated in the word. So that is something that I could how do you say it? I could identify and also the false prophets, that is also something that you see a lot. So that
I think those two are quite relevant for a lot of people, because the amount of prophets nowadays is very odd, if I can say so. Even when you look at scriptures, it wasn't necessarily that in one place. Let's take, for example, Amsterdam Zuidoost only. The amount of prophets in one place, it's so concentrated that's not, if you compare it to the scripture, that's not how it's supposed to be, right? And also that prosperity doctrine. I think that a lot of mega churches, and I'm not sure if you guys also sometimes watch preaching sermons online. You see that they wrapped so-called doctrine in like motivational speech. So and it's not bad, you can use the scriptures to motivate, but that should not be the foundation of your assembly to draw the people in. And I think that that's a very current issue. And last week the minister spoke about Laodicea as the last church, and their issue was lukewarmness. So Samuel, what was your understanding of being lukewarm? What does that mean?
So more acting in how you feel. So one day you may feel highly in the spirit. You feel that you can conquer the world through the Messiah, or so like people say, you can do anything through Christ. So that's how you feel one day, and then the next day you're like, nah, I'm not feeling it. I'm just doing my own thing. And that going through not even a week, but just your whole life. So when you feel like you want to do something, you do it. But when you don't feel like it, you will not act upon your religion at that point. And that's the mindset that you have. It's more of a mindset. So your acts rely on your motivation. But so most people may then lack discipline because your motivation cannot always get you through life.
Exactly.
So at the point that your motivation is low, for me it seems that's the point that people then say, let me just do my own thing because today I don't feel like it. So for me it was the direct an indication of a lack of discipline and people just thinking that motivation is the core of the things that we do.
Yeah.
And it's really not.
And do you recognize lukewarmness in yourself?
Yes, I do. And that's more in, I think, in a lot of things that I do, that sometimes discipline may lack. That I'm also one of the people that may think, oh, today I don't feel like for instance, learning for my exams. And then you just feel.
Yeah.
But you cannot always blame your motivation because sometimes you just have to do things even when you don't want to.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that can make you stronger, I think, in life, because nobody is waking up thinking, hey, I want to do this, so I'm going to do this every day.
Yeah.
Everybody has a point that they get demotivated, but that's the point where you need to push through, and that's something I myself need to work on.
Yeah, it's a very interesting point that you mentioned, especially that part of motivation, that a lot of people think you always need motivation, but there are going to be a lot of times that you don't have the motivation, and what separates you maybe from another individual or just separates you as a person itself is, okay, what do you do when the motivation is lacking, for example, right? I recognize it in myself also quite often that I'm like, if it's something that I really have set my goal towards then okay, then I can just do it. But if I don't have a specific goal for certain things, then for me it's like, okay, we can do it later or when I feel like it. Yeah. And Helena, do you recognize lukewarmness in yourself as well?
Yeah, me too. Yeah, with everything a bit. Yeah, also what Sam actually said is like, one day, I'm this, the other day, that. But I think with me, it is, if it is like, when it comes to the faith and Elohim, it's like, I know I have goals, I want to grow spiritually and stuff, but it's like things that, because it's not something that I can really like see, so I cannot really see it. So it's like, okay, I know I have time because I can see it. But for instance, this year I was also like working on my weight loss journey, and I was noticing that in that I was putting more effort because I can see like the physical change. It's like, oh yeah, I'm seeing this, so like I will try harder and stuff. But also even in that, it was also like sometimes I didn't have motivation. But although I didn't have motivation, I was still doing the things that I need to do because I can see it. So I saw it. So that's something for me that, I need to work on. Although I'm not seeing things like right now, I still need to like go for it.
Yeah, exactly. And that it's also still working. As you were speaking, I was thinking about the definition of faith.
Yeah.
Like that sometimes you don't see it. Yeah. But you still believe in it and you work towards it. But at all the things that you mentioned, I think they're very recognizable for a lot of people. Faith is, people speak so easily about faith, but faith is really something that you have to exercise in many areas of life. And it grows stronger in the moments that, you don't see the results or you don't have the motivation, or you go through things that are pushing you to that point that your faith will grow. So I hope that also a lot of listeners at home could take something from this. Is there advice that you have, Samuel? Maybe like, where can someone start when you want to get out of that lukewarm phase?
I think it really relies on planning and setting measurable goals. So things that you can also, because like Helena mentioned, sometimes you don't really know where you're going to because you just have a faith, I want to grow. Yeah. But you have to point out for yourself, what is growth? Yes. When are you for yourself satisfied? Hey, I have achieved something. I've made a step, I'm going forward. So you can also know when you're going back. Because that is a mistake that I've made a couple of times. It's just, I want to grow, for instance, I want to grow in wisdom. I want to grow in knowledge. But when have I gained knowledge and when have I gained wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So because I didn't measure it, I also didn't know when I was going backwards or when I was even improving on the things that on the knowledge that I had
Yeah.
before. Because do you gather knowledge when you read throughout the whole Bible,
Mm-hmm.
or when you really when you really study one chapter of the Bible?
Mm-hmm.
So making it measurable and also setting real goals, and not just fake statements like
Yeah.
I want to do this, I want to do that. Because I think in the long run, it can hinder you because you don't know what your progress is.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that part of planning, yeah, I think that's a very good first step to start with. A lot of people set up a long-term goal, but they forget to write down the steps towards
Yeah.
such things. And I think that will also help a lot of people. So going back to the topic of Laodicea, the last church, you also saw that the minister spoke about the practices that you see in modern day assemblies, and something that you do not see happening a lot is that they don't ask questions. So the congregation doesn't ask questions. Sometimes the preacher does not really ask questions to them as well. Why do you think that this is the case, Helena?
Why people don't ask?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. If you ask questions, you'll get new information. You'll get more information, and I think people are satisfied with the things they have already heard,
Mm-hmm.
or people are not like curious enough to want to know more things. So yeah, just I think maybe one of those
One of those things.
Yeah.
So either they don't want to take in the new information, or they're not curious
Yeah.
to knowing a lot. And Samuel, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's easier for both the preacher and the people that are listening to just go along, because when and I think a lot of people are now used to just receiving information when a pastor or a preacher is talking, because that's more the structure of the church. So subconsciously, you just in your head, it's just everything that the preacher is saying is true.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you don't really have to think about it, and that's where critical thinking lacks in the churches, because we just accept it. Like if he is saying it from his authority, you just accept it. You don't ask any questions because he already gave you a breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the problem is more that when you don't think about it, you also don't reflect the message on the things you do, and you can't really put it into practice because there's no thought process behind it.
Exactly.
You just receive, but you don't really know what you're receiving. And when you're also hearing the same message again, you just think, I've already heard this before, so why would I even bother changing something when this is the same thing he said last month? So after a while, when the topic gets repeated over and over again in the same structure, you also lack interest to even ask a question.
And yeah, I think that people don't really realize how dangerous that is, to just receive information without discerning or dissecting the information that we're receiving. For you, when you were going to church, did you have the opportunity to ask questions?
Yes, but I wasn't. For me personally, I wasn't really in the main building, so not during the church service. I was in the Sunday school.
Yeah.
So we had a separate teaching that we received, and at that point we were able to ask questions. Only the answers we received were a little bit vague. So after a while, I just stopped asking questions and started thinking for myself, or I just wrote it down what we were reading, and then I read it at home. Because I don't really often ask questions, because I want to figure it out myself. I just think about it. When you're talking, I just think about it, and afterwards I just try to figure it out. But that's more personally that I don't really like to ask questions, because oftentimes the answer gets told when you just listen clearly to the following sentences, and if it doesn't, I just try to look for it myself.
Okay, and Helena, do you have a similar approach to asking questions? Were you someone that asked questions in church during your teachings?
No. I was also at Sunday school, and when I was like in the what do you say it? Service in the service, it was like, I was the one, like I was reading for the preacher man at that time, and it was like after I have read, he has given his message, and it was just like amen, clap, and it was done. So no, it was not like afterwards he doesn't ask like have some heeft iemand een vraag. So I think maybe if he would ask like if someone has a question that people might ask, I think, or but it's because like he just preach, pray, clap, amen, done. So it wasn't very room, but I think maybe if would ask like if people have questions, I think people might ask.
Yeah, because when I listen to you guys' story, I'm interested as to now you're like in the truth, or you have changed your ways, for example. How was it then for you to make that switch to start asking questions? Because here we provide a lot of information, critical information as well, and there are quite some things that you have to ask yourself questions about. So how was it then for you to make that switch if it was not necessarily something that you tend to do from coming from the church? Helena?
Okay, it was in the main service that we didn't have the opportunity to ask questions, but in the Sunday school, because we also had like teaching from Justice at that time, so he already like trained us to ask questions. So daar wel, zeg maar. At the Sunday school you could ask questions.
And
so,
Samuel, were you also in that? No, probably not. In the same Sunday school?
I got taught by the brother as well.
Oh, okay.
And afterwards, we received another teacher due to certain circumstances.
Yeah.
So I was also, he gave us opportunity to ask questions, but I think we didn't ask a lot of questions because we weren't used to. I still have to adjust to it. Sometimes you just ask a question when you don't know something instead of doing everything yourself, because when there is an opportunity to just get the information, you should also make use of that. But one of the things that I didn't like about asking questions is that everybody just focuses on me. I really don't like the spotlight. That's something I really don't like. So that sometimes even prevented me from asking a question because I don't like everyone focusing on me. But after a while, when I have a burning question, I just ask it.
Yeah.
But when I think about the last couple of months, I didn't ask a lot of questions. But I myself don't even know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe because I was reading myself, but
didn't really feel the urge to ask the questions, and you didn't like it when the focus was on you. Yeah, because I think I've spoken to multiple of you guys, and I find it so funny that like our experiences were similar, like when growing up in the assemblies, and also how we assessed maybe the things that we received. If I ask a lot of people, the response that I get is, some of the information, something was just not adding up, like to the bigger picture, maybe to a certain doctrine. I, for once, I asked a lot of questions when going to Sunday school, to the point of frustration sometimes, but I really asked a lot of questions because for me, a lot of things were just not adding up. I'm someone also, I don't like it when people say, this is it, punt. I always want to know why. So you need to explain to me why and where it comes from. And there was a certain point that they couldn't give me a solid answer anymore. And then I also started studying things for myself. Maybe the example of Christmas, speaking about it, discussing about it, things to me were just odd. And if you can't further explain where it comes from, why we do it, then I will start studying myself. And then I saw, this is not something that we should be doing at all. And I think that that is why I personally like asking questions, is see that people always get stuck at a certain moment. You can't continue to ask why, where does this come from? And it always urges me then to study it for myself, or seek the matter out for myself. But that was it then on the questions that we don't get to have to ask, like in the assemblies. Something that the minister also said was that the minister said that the harvest is like plenty, but the labor is few. But even if you look at times nowadays, a lot of people go to maybe he called it Bible cemeteries. He did not he didn't say seminaries, but he really said Bible cemeteries, where you have a lot of theologians coming from. And what is very odd is that they all preach different doctrines. So when they finished their school, they go out, maybe start a church, but all their doctrines are different. How is this possible, Samuel?
I really cannot give you the answer for that, but I can give you maybe my own opinion. And I think it's just confusion, and all because I think the main message is that everyone is accepted, and that there's no lie in the Bible.
Yeah.
So everyone can take something out of the Bible, but use their own perception of it. So everyone can just twist it.
Yeah.
But because it's from the Bible, you can just back it up by saying, yeah, it's from the Bible. It's written in the Bible. And when everyone does that, everyone can get their own perception and make that a preaching. But when there's no clear line that which of the things that have to align.
Yeah.
So like even the simple fact that it has to align from something in the Old Testament, you can just take something and create your own preaching out of it because that's your understanding. But with your understanding, the people in your church will also think through that same understanding, and that will create another branch of, let's say, Christianity in the church.
Yeah.
So everyone can have their own thought process, but also their own point of view when it comes to the Bible, and that with itself creates a lot of different teachings. And
Yeah.
But because something that I thought of way back, I always ask this question. I never understood. There's one book, so many different interpretations and so many doctrines coming, different type of doctrines. I couldn't figure out how that was possible. So that's also why I'm asking, why I asked the question to you. But if I hear your answer correctly, it's because, yeah, everyone has their own point of view, own perspective, and then they try to, how do you say that? Based on their own interpretation, then they bring a certain scripture, right? Instead of using the scripture as a foundation to bring the thing.
Exactly.
Okay. And Helena, why do you think that there are so many different doctrines, so many different teachings? Is that the way it should be?
No, I don't think so.
And why?
I don't think so, because then you have what you see right now, that the one only believes in the Old Testament, or one only New Testament. People even say, yeah, the Bible isn't the how they say it, isn't the book we should follow. We should follow another book. People make their own. Yeah, it's just a lot, and I don't know why people. I don't know where it comes from, but it's causing a lot of confusion. Amongst the believers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is where questions come in. Like when you read it for yourself, because everyone is urged to read and study the scriptures for itself. But when you don't understand something, don't try to understand it from your point of view. Like maybe look up someone who knows more of the topic, and then you start asking the questions. And even the information that you receive from that person, also be very critical towards that. Because you can have the tendency otherwise to ask and assume, oh, because this person knows more from the topic, that's why then I'll accept the information. But even in that, you still have to be very critical with what you receive. So going to the last of few questions. One thing that was spoken about this church of Laodicea is that it says that this church needs to buy gold tried by fire. And that is a reference often to maybe trials, tribulations, a way of purging, because that's what you also see when they are trying to refine gold. It goes through fire and then it comes out as gold. But what is then exactly, why should someone who is lukewarm, or maybe come from a lukewarm assembly, buy this gold tried by fire? Why does someone like that need to go through trials and tribulations? Samuel?
Think to just to work on your character, because when you're at ease, you don't really get tested. You're just comfortable. You can do the things that you're used to do. But when you're put in a situation that you need to pass through the fire, you just really need to react and act upon the situation. And afterwards, it gets you thinking because you're not used to the things that happened before,
Mm-hmm.
and at that moment you also need to use the knowledge and the strength that you currently have. But
Mm-hmm.
when you don't have anything, it will be hard for you to fight through. And
Mm-hmm.
afterwards you may think, hey, I'm lacking something. Why wasn't I able to
Mm-hmm.
achieve this?
Yeah.
Why wasn't I able to do this? And that gets you thinking, can also help you to come to your senses.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you can also blame the devil. So
Yeah, it's easy.
it tests your character, and it can help you,
Mm-hmm.
or the other it can just lead you astray.
Hey. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's better now. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have two ways you can go afterwards, but
Mm-hmm.
it can benefit you to
Yeah.
to think about the things that you lack and where you
Exactly.
need to go to.
Mm-hmm.
True.
And Helena, so what is the proper perspective or the proper attitude when you go through trials and tribulations?
Yeah, the proper attitude is, I think, when you go through trials, you need to look at yourself like, okay, what can I learn from this?
Mhm.
What is it telling me? Why I am going through this, and not pointing fingers at like on other things or the devil or other people, like because of you I'm going through this, through that. But
Mhm.
really like assess your life. Yeah, I think that's the important one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because trials and tribulations, as the brother said, and as you also said, it reveals the things that you have to work on, the things that you maybe are already strong in, but you should. And that's something that I'm also like personally learning now in this time of life is it is eventually making you stronger, though you do not see it or though you do not realize it at the moment itself. At a certain moment, you will see, okay, maybe if you go through it again, hey, my response is different
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Oh, I can handle it. And that's how you also see the growth. And the scripture many times speaks about that. Trials and tribulations are there to purify you. During purification, ugly things tend to come up so that you may be clean at the end of the way. So I hope that we can take that perspective along, and also you, dear listeners, that we can take that along. So yeah, we are moving on to a brand new theme. This is also a last short question. We are moving on to a brand new theme. The gathering of the saints, Old Testament. What are your guys' expectations?
Yeah.
Because I have to be honest, I saw the title
Yeah,
and the
no,
theme.
no,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I have no
Yeah,
idea what to
Oh
expect.
yeah, you have said it yourself.
Yeah, so,
Because I don't know.
My mind is open. I'm ready to
Yeah.
receive.
Open.
Receive it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a clue yet.
Yeah. Me neither, but we will figure it out. So
We'll
let's
figure it
see
out.
what the minister has in store for us. Thank you very much, Helena and Samuel. I
Thank
really
you.
liked the conversation. Was
Me
a
too.
good and easy conversation, right?
That was a good conversation.
Okay.
You
Okay, now thank you guys. We will now move on to the word of wisdom, but let's take a few short minutes and then we'll move on to that next segment. So thank you for joining us in the table talk.
Thank you.
Father, we need you more than our desperate, oh God. We call on you, oh God. Jesus. Continue. Oh, Jabeni.
Shalom, shalom, and to all our viewers and listeners, wheresoever you are found. We thank the Almighty for yet another opportunity that He has given unto us to be able to be found on this side of existence, because both life and death are two sides of the same stone or coin. The Bible therefore says that in some cases, not in all cases, a living dog can exceed a dead lion, which simply means that as long as you have life within you and you are not too old, that is also a part of the ingredient, you are still able to make some changes. And these changes can impact your afterlife. So we are extremely grateful unto Elohim that He has shown us compassion so that we may be able to hear His voice at this early stages of our lives, so that we may make the proper amends and may make the proper preparations which is needed in order to survive His coming. It is so unfortunate that we who were supposed to be children are now put in places where we have to even address the elders. And so as it was in the days of the Messiah, so it is again that he at a very young age had to go to the temple and there had to quarrel with the Sadducees and the Pharisees. So also it is in our days where some people may look at us and say, who the hell do these guys think they are? How dare they trample on what they call traditions. So you mean to tell us that all of us who have been following Christianity are in error? And you small boys, no one knows where you come from. You come with your strange doctrines. Every week there is something new. You guys never stop. But the question is, what you are accusing us of is the same thing that you are doing. Because you are the ones who make the statement and say that Christianity has come and saved us, not realizing that maybe 200 or 400 years ago, your forefathers never heard of something called Christianity, and they lived in their own countries for thousands of years. So what was keeping them at that time? Because everything that is ours, we hate and we reject and we despise. So now when we are now turning around and saying, guys, this mass religion called Christianity is the way of error, now you get offended. Now you get offended. But if you are to sit down and think, this guy that the world claims to follow, who the world claims his name is Jesus, have you ever sat down and think about how many followers did he amass in his days? How many followers did he amass in his days? The Bible was being specific when it said that once upon a time they came to the number of around 80 or something, and then he began to upgrade or unveil the deeper meanings of his doctrine. And the moment he started touching on doctrine, something like 72 or something left him, and he was left with 12, of which one was a devil. Can you imagine? He whom Shaul says, in him dwelleth the fullness of the Godhead bodily. The one who said, you guys have the Spirit in measure, but upon me Elohim has poured the Spirit without measure. The one who was able to stand and say, Lazarus, come forth. The one who defied death, hell, and the grave. Yet the name of his church is not known. There is not even a mention of he erecting stones and calling it the great congregation of Jesus. He was walking to and fro from houses to houses, meaning he was operating on a low level. He was hated and despised. So basically, everything that these world preachers are doing is everything that he was against. Yet you are so comfortable calling yourself a Christian and thinking that that makes you special. If Christianity is the number one religion in the world, how exactly does that make you special? And if the Bible says you will be hated of all men So where exactly does hatred in your life come into action? So then sometimes you sit and you're like, are the people reading what I'm reading? If John the Baptist would be here today, would we accept him? Compare your modern day prophets, you know, the smooth guys with the blonde hair, the rastas, the earrings, the nice dresses, the fancy speech. Compare them with John the Baptist. The ladies in the church, would they be able to bear the doctrine of John? So they remove John and put Isaiah. Who would love Isaiah? Who would accept the doctrine of Isaiah? The one who cried and said, "Who has believed our report?" Remove Isaiah. Put Ezekiel, the stammering prophet, the one who could not speak. Casual speech, he couldn't. So you couldn't chill with Ezekiel. The only time he could speak was when the hand of Yah was upon him. And unfortunately, whenever the hand of Yah was upon him, he was never positive. Because the voice of the angel of truth, it is a lamenting voice. It is a weeping voice. You cannot hear the voice of the angel of truth and be happy. All you can do when you hear his voice is you sigh. You're like, remove Ezekiel and now put the favorite prophet of the Christians, Elijah. And I don't know how, of all the prophets that the Christians can choose, all of them love Elijah. Are you crazy? How can you love Elijah? He may have been the most maddest of all the prophets. Someone who can, how many? He killed 200, right? He killed 400 prophets in an afternoon. He went with them to the valley of, and he began in Gilgal, which is Kigali, Rwanda, and he began to behead them. Behead them. Rwanda is even called the city of 1,000 hills. There, he beheaded 4, and you are saying we are in the days of Elijah, and then you see a lady in the church. She's so fine, and you're like, yeah, the spirit of Elijah is upon you. So when you see all these things, so what has happened to this thing that they call religion? Or we don't know anymore. So now it is, people are like, I have the Bible in my hand. It is the unadulterated truth. It is the unadulterated truth, but in there you find the name Jesus. In there you find things like God, Jehovah. In there you find things like Timothy, Matthew, Luke. All westernized names, but it is an African book. So much confusion to the point where if Elohim doesn't show mercy I don't know. Because as we are living now, the level of confusion that this Bible, that this religion called Christianity is bringing, it is beyond words. It is beyond words. Because everything within this religion is allowed. You like Christmas? Fine. You can hang out with Christians. You like drinking, smoking? You can hang around with Christians. Everything that is crazy, or you like racism, hang around with Christians. Cheating, you like deceiving, hang around with. Everything is allowed. You like pork, hang around. So like, how is it possible that this is the religion of God, but the Muslims are stricter in their religion than Christians? They have more rules than Christians. The Buddhists have more rules and are stricter than Christians. The Hindus have more rules, are stricter than Christians. So if you take all the world religions, they are stricter and have more rules than Christians. So we don't know. We don't know. I don't think that it is their intention to always bash. That is not the case. All that we're doing is we are raising questions, hoping that you may also like think for yourself. And what is so sad is that many of them, they do watch us. Because we're not going to deny, just like we watch them. We're not denying that. The reason why we can say these things is because we watch you. And we know you watch us. But what is crazy is like, none has even tried to like sit down like, hey guys, you guys have been doing this for years. But what is happening? No one has done it. We will sometimes go and visit them churches and sit down and ask, like, no one has done it. No one has done it. And then you see your brothers and sisters, young guys, going to church every day. Some of them don't even have money, but they will go to church. And every time they go to church, they keep on paying money. They keep on paying money. If the people that were doing this were doing it for free, then I would be like, hey, at least they're not charging you anything. But they are charging you your money and then selling you hope in a bag of air. Yeah, nowadays we see this is the days of Elijah. We have been Maya. I don't know, man. But because of time, we just have to see what doctrine says. And the topic for today is the gathering of the saints. The gathering of the saints. This is not rapture, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Rapture is another topic altogether which we have dealt with oftentimes. We are now dealing with the gathering of the saints. Just to show you that this concept, because rapture is so embedded in New Testament theology,
Mm-hmm.
that it's so difficult for them to go to the old. But just to show you that the old is stronger than the new.
Mm-hmm.
It is the old that gives and shapes the contours of the new. So he will show you the gathering of the saints based on the Tanakh alone. To show you what Elohim was thinking and what he meant by when he will gather his people. So, next slide. Yeah. So the table of content is as following. Oh, you guys can see that. Who will be gathered? How will they be gathered? From where will they be gathered from? And when will they be gathered? It may take me around 1 hour 15 to 1 hour 30 minutes, but I hope it will take me 1 hour and 15 minutes. Okay. So let's start. Next.
So the first one is the question, who will be gathered?
So, who will be gathered? Read.
2nd Esdras chapter 13 from verse 39.
Listen carefully. This 2nd Esdras also part of the Old Testament. The same Ezra, the priest or the scribe. 2nd Esdras in the Apocrypha.
Chapter 13 from verse 39.
Read. And it says,
and whereas thou sawest,
where you saw,
that he gathered another peaceable multitude,
that he, being the Messiah, gathered another peaceable multitude unto him.
Those are the 10 tribes.
Those are the Christians.
Those are the 10 tribes.
These are Israelites,
which were carried away prisoners.
When the Bible speaks of the saint, even in the New Testament, he is speaking of Israelites. These, when he says he will gather another peaceable multitude, these are
the 10 tribes
which
were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hoshea the king, whom Salmanessar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. Go ahead.
Ezekiel chapter 37 from 21.
Ezekiel 37:21.
Thus saith Yah Elohim.
Thus saith the Almighty.
Surely I will take the children of Israel.
No. England, America, Rome will take the Israelites and will put them in a place called Palestine.
Surely I will take the children of
Elohim
Israel.
is saying, surely I will take
the children of Israel from among the nations.
I will take them from amongst the
nations,
and
wherever they have gone, and will gather them from every side and bring them into their own land.
This is the gathering of the saints, what these Christians call rapture. He says, I will take the people, my people, which are scattered all over, and I will gather them. Go ahead.
Every side, and bring them into their own land.
And I will bring them into their own land.
Verse 27. When I have brought them back.
Listen. When I will be the one who have brought them back
from the people and gathered them out of their enemies' lands, and I am hallowed in them in the sight of many nations.
And I will be hallowed in them in the sight of many nations.
Then they shall know that I am Yah their Elohim.
That is when they, the people themselves, will even realize, hey, that is Yah, our Elohim,
who sent them into captivity among the nations.
Because the real natural people of Yah themselves are not even aware that Yah is their Elohim. They believe in other gods. They believe in other mighty ones. Go ahead.
I am Yah. I am Yah their Elohim, who sent them into captivity among the nations, but also brought them back to their land.
You see? So he's saying, I will be the one who have sent them into captivity in the other nations, and I will also be the one who will bring them back
to their land.
So ask yourself, the people that are portraying themselves to be Israelites now, who are now living in what they call modern day Israel, were they ever in captivity? That's a question. That's why it is so simple to the point where it becomes foolish to even speak of these things again. The people that call themselves Israelis, did they ever go into captivity? Is the trademark of Israel, of the modern day Israelis, what is the trademark? If you can describe them with 5 words, what words would you describe them?
Rich.
You would describe them 1, rich. What else?
Business owners.
Business owners. What else?
They have the biggest gay parade in the world.
Okay, what else?
Banks, money.
Banks, money, wealth.
They were given trees.
And the Holocaust.
Those are the things you would recognize them. Okay, but if you would describe the Israelis or the Israelites of the Bible by 5 words, how would you describe them?
Stubborn.
Stubborn, 1. What else?
Cursed.
Cursed, 2.
Slavery.
Slavery.
Black.
Idolatry.
Idolatrous. And poor. Diseased. War. So, only negative stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You would never describe the Israelites of the Bible as being rich. Never. They would own nothing. You would describe them as confused, impoverished, naked, cursed, forsaken of their mighty one, scattered all over, slaves. So the modern day people that are in Israel, they don't fit the bill.
Mm-hmm.
I am yet to know a poor Jew.
Mm-hmm.
I am yet to find a poor Jew. So who will be gathered? Continue reading.
Isaiah 14 from 1.
Mm-hmm.
For Yah will have mercy on Jacob.
For Elohim will have mercy on Jacob.
And will still choose Israel.
And will still choose Israel.
And settle them in
Just
their own
imagine.
land.
Just imagine. If there is a righteous Elohim in heaven,
Mm-hmm.
and he's looking down to all the nations of this world, and all of a sudden he would sit and he was looking at what is happening in the world, and it would be like, I see Africa. 90% of the people in Africa are suffering, are poor, are dying. I see Asia. There it's like 50-50. And then I see the Western world where 90% of people are enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm coming, I will yet have mercy on Europe.
Yeah.
How much sense does that make? And he calls himself a merciful Elohim. So if you are looking at the world, the last place you should show mercy to is Europe.
That's right.
These people don't need help. They don't need help. And if you would zoom and you would look into the nation or the continent or the country of Israel now, you see Netanyahu. And then you see the Palestinians. Who would you pity? Who would you pity? So Elohim says, when I come, I will yet have mercy on
Jacob.
The fact that he can have mercy means that Jacob will be in a poor state. They will be in a state where they need help.
Yeah.
The Israelis don't need help. They get all the help from America, from Europe, from the UK. They get all the help they need. It is so crazy, they even get help from Africa. So Elohim said, when I come, I will yet have mercy on
Jacob, and will choose Israel, and settle them in their own land.
And I will settle them in their
own land.
So meaning when you will come back, Israel, the true people, will not be found in their own land. Go ahead.
The strangers will be joined with them, and they will cling to the house of Jacob.
And the strangers will be joined. That's why Christians hate the Old Testament. It proves them out. Christians say that in the New Testament, when it speaks about saints and Israel, Israel is removed and Christians now have taken the spot. But the prophet, the gatekeeper, is like, not so.
The strangers will be joined.
He's still
with
making
them.
a distinction. He's saying the strangers
will be joined with them.
Will be joined with them.
And they will cling to the house of Jacob.
And the strangers will cling to the house. So the strangers will never take over the house of Jacob, nor will they replace the Israelites, but they will cling
to the house of Jacob.
Go ahead.
Then people will take them.
And then people will take them.
Then the people will take them.
Then the people will take them
and bring them to their place.
and will bring them to their place.
And the house of Israel will possess them for servants.
And the house of
Israel
will possess them for
servants and maids in the land of Yah.
That is why we are saying there is a just Elohim in heaven.
They will take them captive.
And he has seen all that the inhabitants of the world has gone through. So he's telling them when Israel will be in the land, they will then take them captive.
Whose captives they were.
Whose captives they were.
And rule over their oppressors.
And they will rule over their oppressors. So if it was the Israelis of our days, then it means that the Israelis that are now in Israel will go to Germany and possess all the Germans.
Mm-hmm.
But do you know what is so crazy? Almost 50% of these Israelis are in Germany, and they themselves are Germans. So what are you doing?
Helping themselves.
So how can this proverb ever come true? It makes no sense because it is a lie. But there is a people that are oppressed, and there is a people who have oppressed them. That's why you see the beautiful picture. You have to go back, please. That's why you see the beautiful picture of the Bantus in the slide before this. Look at them. These are the oppressed people, and you already know who oppressed us. The world knows who oppressed us. So when you read it in this context, I don't need to explain anymore. We can even stop here.
Mm-hmm.
Who oppressed you? For more than 400 years of documented history. How many years did the Germans oppress the Israelis? You can't compare. We have documented history of a people being oppressed. So these are the people that will be gathered. Did you finish reading all the verses from that slide?
Yeah.
All right. So these are the people who will be gathered. This is your family. Go to the next slide.
Joel chapter 3 from 1.
We're bringing it home. Joel chapter
3 from 1.
Listen.
For behold, in those days.
For behold, in those days.
And in that time.
And in that time.
When I shall bring again the captivity of Judah.
So when he says, when I will bring again the captivity of Judah, that is the gathering of the saints. When Elohim will begin to call back his children from all the places that they are scattered, and he will begin to bring them home.
I will also gather all nations.
He says this will happen simultaneously. Whilst he is gathering his people, he will also
gather all nations.
Make sure that he raises in the spirits of the kings of the Medes and stuff, a spirit to make sure that they will come to stop the people from gathering.
And will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat.
So the scenery is as following. Both the righteous will be gathered in the valley of Jehoshaphat, and also the enemy of Elohim will also be gathered in the valley of Jehoshaphat. And there will be a fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Whilst he's delivering his people, he's killing the other ones. So there is no such thing as rapture happening. No. There is a gathering of the saints, and before that gathering, there is a fighting that must take place. So read.
And I will plead with them there for my people.
And there will I plead with them for my people.
And for my heritage Israel.
And for my heritage Israel.
Whom they have scattered among the nations.
Whom they have scattered amongst the nations.
And parted my land.
And they did what?
And they parted my land.
And they parted my land.
And they have cast lots for my people.
When you're reading these things, it seems like you can really understand.
Mm-hmm.
When was America parted? When was America parted? When was it parted? If you look at Europe, for example, yes, Germany once possessed the Dutch once possessed Belgium, and then they had an agreement and they separated. But no one did it for them, they did it themselves. But when you look at the continent of Africa, Africans did not part Africa. Some other nations had the audacity to come and part our lands. So they parted the land of Yah. Continue reading.
Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations.
Whom they scattered amongst the nations.
And parted my land.
Go ahead.
And they have cast lots for my people.
And then they did cast lots. Did the Germans cast lots?
No.
And they casted lots for my people.
And have given a boy for an harlot.
And they gave a boy for a harlot.
And sold a girl for wine.
And they sold a girl for wine, especially this rum. Jamaicans ought to know the story of rum. How slaves were sold for a jar of rum. This is plain and simple. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon?
What have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon?
And all the coast of Palestine, would ye render unto me a recompense? And if you recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians.
Now he will begin to mention these nations by name. The children of Israel and of Judah have you sold
unto the Grecians.
Unto whom?
Unto the Grecians.
So the people of Israel have been sold unto the Greeks.
That ye might remove them far from their borders.
So that you may remove them far from their borders. Have the people of Israel been sold to the Greeks? Have these modern day Israelis been sold to the Greeks? Do they have documented history of that happening? So he's saying, my people also have you sold unto the Grecians. And we all know who the Greeks are. The Europeans, they boast under the name of one man, whose name is Alexander the Greek. They call him the Great. He is known as the warrior and the champion of the Europeans. He's the one who they claim he once upon a time conquered the world from Africa all the way to India, which just so happens to be the borders of the land of Yah. So he said, my people have you sold unto the Grecians. Read.
That ye might remove them far from their border. Verse 7. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them.
He says, I will be the one who will raise them out of the place where ye sold them.
And will return your recompense upon your own head.
Go ahead.
And I will sell your sons and your daughters.
And Elohim said, and when push comes to shove, and in the end days, I will recompense you, just like you did to my people, I will also do to you. Now I will sell your sons and your daughters
into the hand of the children of Judah.
Into the hand of the children of Judah.
And they shall sell them to the Sabaeans, to a people afar off, for Yah had spoken it. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, and let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up.
I will try to jump over the war parts because we will have a different topic on that. But I'm just putting the scene for the gathering of the saints. So you'll see, when he will begin to gather his people, there will be a war going on. So the notion of rapture cannot be true then, because if there is a war going on, Elohim is gathering his people at the same time, it would make no sense for a war to happen if he's gathering his people at the same time. Because if his people are raptured away, then who is he gathering? Who is he gathering?
Good question.
Who is he gathering if his people are taken away? Because Christians say, no, we will be raptured first and then the Hebrews will be left behind. There is no Bible verse to support that crazy statement. When Elohim speaks of saints in the New Testament, he's speaking of Israel in the Old. The word is interchangeable. How would he rapture the Christians and then leave the people of Israel who are his children? He said, and Israel have I called my son. He has never said, and Christians have I called my children. Would it make any sense? You are a father and you have two sons. One is your biological son and one is your adoptive son. And there is a war going on, and you send one ticket for your adoptive son, and your natural son you leave behind. No father would do that. But Christians, for them, it's logical to operate like that. So it's the world in reverse. So read.
Going to the next slide because you are skipping over the war, right?
Where did you finish reading?
Joel chapter 3, and I finished at verse 9, and it says, "Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, and let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourself and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yah."
Read to the end.
Let the heathen be awakened.
Let the heathen be awakened.
And come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about.
For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Is that the end? Okay, read to the next one.
So from where will they be gathered from?
So now you see who will be gathered. The people of Israel, not the Christians. They will be gathered at a time where there will be a war going on. And then now you will see from where will Elohim gather them from.
So Isaiah 11 from verse 11.
Isaiah 11 verse 11.
And it shall come to pass in that day.
Listen, and it will so happen that in that day,
that Yah shall set his hand again.
That Yah will, why again? Because the first time he did that was when he was delivering his people from Egypt. So now he says Yah will set his hand again.
The second time.
The second time.
To recover the remnant of his people.
No, there are three comings in the coming of the Messiah.
Yah will set his
The
hand
first
again.
coming was when he was born. The second, the Bible does not say that. The Bible does not say that there are three comings of the coming of the Messiah. That's not what he says. He said, and it will happen that Yah will set up his hand.
The second time.
The second time.
To recover the remnant of his people.
To recover the remnant of his people.
Which shall be left from Assyria.
Where will they be left from?
Assyria.
Assyria, which is Ashur. Which is Africa.
And from Egypt.
And Egypt, which is Africa.
And from Pathros.
And from Pathros, Upper Egypt, which is Africa.
And from Cush.
And from Cush, which is Abyssinia, Ethiopia.
And from Elam.
And Elam, which is also the northeastern part of Abyssinia, which we now call India.
And from Shinar.
And from Shinar, which is Africa.
And from Hamath.
And from Hamath, which is Africa.
And from the islands of the sea.
And then will he go to the islands of the sea, which is Trinidad, Tobago, Suriname, France Guyana, Brasilia, Bolivia. Those are the places. Those are the places. The Americas. Those are the places where he will gather his people from. Did you hear Germany?
Holland.
Did you hear Germany?
Ukraine.
Did you hear Holland? Did you hear the UK? No. Elohim will gather none from there. Because the people that are there will reach that point in a minute. They will have to flee for themselves. Because when Elohim visits Ukraine, Germany, Holland, he says, I will not come to collect. I will come to kill. And that is so crazy. Like, if the world is in balance and every nation has been judged already, what nation is still left unjudged? If I was that nation, I would tremble. As for Africa, we know we have been living in judgment from ever since. Every day is judgment for Africa. Every day is judgment for Africa. India they are in semi-judgment. The Asian countries with all them earthquakes, they are living in some judgment. Europe is free. The place where the most wicked things happen on a daily basis is so blessed. And you are not wondering like, how is this? So you don't understand that there are spirits at work. Because Job said, if the wicked be multiplied, it be for the sword. Look at that. Look at how we're living, man. When was the day you ever fell asleep when was the day that you ever fell asleep with an empty stomach in Europe? Because of a lack of food. It doesn't exist. If you fall asleep hungry in Europe, it's because it is by your own design. People in Africa fall asleep hungry daily, and it is not by choice. They fill their belly with agua.
Like filthy.
Filth, of course. Filthy, unfiltered agua. So then when they drink it, there are these worms that get into their stomach, and then it gets swollen.
Oh.
So you see a child, we call it koshokor. Chiba. So you see a child, the child has the head this small, but the stomach is 3 times that of a pregnant woman. And then the legs are like 2 toothpicks. So the child is walking, you don't know if it's a zombie or you don't know. And it is sad, but that's why I say, Africa, we are in judgment. We're in judgment. We're in judgment. Look at this guy. You guys, no, we're in judgment.
Yeah.
So like 3 out of 10 children have koshokor. Big belly, small head. Sometimes they have what I call watermelon head. We're in judgment. But look at Europe. Look at Europe. But Elohim is looking like, okay, so this Europe, every day what they do is they plunder Africa. Every day what they do is they plunder Africa. And these Africans, they cry every day. They go to these churches every day. They pray every day. Sometimes they are broke, but the last of their penny, they give to the pastor. That's the heart of an African. Elohim is seeing all of that, and he will remain quiet forever? Really? Donald Trump comes in an interview, is like, who cares about Africa? It's a shithole. It's a shithole.
Mm-hmm.
Boris Johnson. So all of these things are happening. Oh, poor Africans. The IQ test says they are the dumbest people in the world. Oh, poor Africans. Something happens in Ukraine. It's world news. They're gathering money for Ukraine. But they have been desensitized to what happens to Africa, because what has happened in Ukraine is not even 0.0.0.0.0.0.0.1% of what happens daily in Africa. But who cares? Who gives a damn? No one. No one. And that is Bible prophecy. You will be rejected of all nations. You will be the tail and not the head. You will be cursed and plagued. He said, cursed will you be in the field. Cursed will you be in the city. You will plant a vineyard and another man will take it. In the morning you will say, oh, I wish it was night. In the night you will say, oh, I wish it was noon. Elohim will smite you with a botch and with madness. It's us. And a trembling heart. We are the most fearful. It's us. It's us. It's us. Read.
Isaiah 11 from verse 12. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcast of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
From the four corners of the earth.
Psalm 137 from 1.
Now listen. Psalms 137 from
1.
Read.
By the rivers of Babylon.
And there, by the rivers of
Babylon.
There
we sat down.
Yeah. Go and ask any Jamaican them. From Jamaica man, Rasta man, Congo man. That's how they call themselves. Ask them, what is Babylon? Ask them, what is Babylon to you? Some will say Babylon is a system. Babylon is the Western world. They will say Babylon is Rome. And you were like, too much ganja. But no. So he said, by the rivers of Babylon,
there we sat down.
There we sat down.
Yeah, we wept.
And there we cried.
When we remembered
When we
Zion.
remembered Zion.
We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof.
Do the Israelis cry? In what they call Israel now? The Palestinians cry more than the Israelis. When have you seen a Jew cry, man? He only cried to steal the diamond that he stole from Africa. That's when he cries. Jews don't cry. They pay. They have money to spend. So he says, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat, and there we wept.
And we hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof.
And so the Hebrews are musical people. The Ashkenazis, do they even make music? Do they even make music? No, I'm curious. Do these people even make music? Have you heard their song? I saw it one day on YouTube. I was like, my goodness, this is not God. Because they were playing something and what they do is there's this and then they jump up and down like this.
Hey.
That's what they do. Yeah, so you're like, so imagine this was the Almighty. How would he?
Wow.
It's not conducive. So he says they will hang their harps
on the willows in the midst thereof. Verse 3. For there they that carried us away captive.
For there they who carried us away captives
required of us a song.
Have you ever seen the world going to Israel and say, sing a song for us? Do you know a Jew who can sing?
No.
But when they want to be entertained, where do they run to? Please. Where do they run to? Up until this day, I have never, and I don't think I will ever see an entertainer who have reached the level of Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
The guy is, so there are some people, they were made to be who they are. The number one entertainer in the world was MJ. But when we die, the generation that is to come, they will know Michael Jackson as a white man because they will steal his identity. Who does the world run to when they want to be entertained?
No. Black people.
The number one athlete in the world, as they have ranked the rankings. One is Michael Jordan. Second is Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Everything that has to do with entertainment is us. When it comes to singing, who can sing like a heartbroken Negro? Have you heard the songs? There are some songs when a Negro sings it breaks your soul. You are heartbroken fan. Wow. No one sings the songs of Zion like the Negroes. Every entertainer you know, be it Beyonce, be it Usher, be it MJ, all of them you know. Do you know where they got their training from? All of them were first singing in churches.
Yeah.
So when the world wants to be entertained, they call for the Hebrews. You yourself know no one has ever invited an Ashkenazi to go and perform. The people can't sing. The people can't dance. The people can't fight. All that they do, which is a subject for another day, is they go to Germany and they develop nuclear bombs.
And win Nobel Prizes.
That is their expertise. That is the trademark of Esau. So he said, those that carried us away captive
Verse 3.
required of us
A song,
Mhm.
and they that wasted us
and they that wasted.
required of us mirth, saying, Sing us one of the songs of Zion.
Sing, Negro. Sing, niggas. Sing one of the songs of Zion. And they're sitting there like, hey man, this nigga can sing, man. Have you ever heard the voice of Whitney Houston?
Mm-hmm.
My goodness. Ah. So they required of us a song. Go ahead.
Verse 4. But how shall we sing Yah's song
But now we're saying, how can we sing the song of Yah
in a strange land?
in a strange land?
If I forget thee, O Jerusalem.
That's why when the Negro slaves, you see it on the picture, when they were on the Mississippi River and wherever they were in the Americas, all of them knew one song called Kumbaya.
Yeah.
All of them, when they were sitting at the shores of Babylon, they were thinking where they were taken away from. All of them were singing Kumbaya. What do you think Kumbaya means? It means come by Yah. What did they say? They were crying, Yah, come and help us. They were saying, come, Yah, and help us. These are Negroes. You cannot put this verse, Psalm 137, and put an Ashkenazi there. It won't mix. It won't stick. But when you put a Bantu man, you'll be like, yeah, man, the writing is on the... It's plain and simple. Continue reading.
Verse 5. If I forget thee, O
If
Jerusalem,
I forget thee.
let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not remember thee.
It's crazy. It's crazy. These Ashkenazis, they have never written a song of Jerusalem that will encapsulate the world. But these South African girls, small girls and boys, you know the song they wrote, Jerusalem. So it took the world. It took the world. It took the world. So he said, if I forget thee, Jerusalem,
let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth.
Continue.
If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy.
Continue.
Remember, O Yah.
Now Elohim. Now David is imploring Elohim, saying, remember,
O Yah,
who?
the children of Edom.
The children of Edom.
In the day of Jerusalem.
In the day of
Jerusalem.
when Elohim will begin to remember, and when he will begin to gather his saints, the first thing that will come up is Edom. So Elohim has Edom on his mind for a long time now. But he's observing. He's like, Edom, Edom, Edom. So the prophet is saying, remember Edom.
The children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said,
we don't have anything to do with slavery. Our fathers did it. It has nothing to do with me. Elohim is like, no.
remember.
I will remember the children of Edom. Because none of them came by and were like, hey Chris, we treated your forefathers. No one even came to Randy. We're like, hey Randy, we treated your forefathers bad. I just bought this house, please. None of them has done that for Randy yet. No one came to Talisa and were like, hey, you are a descendant of slaves. We treated your people bad. I just bought a new car. Here, please, forgive me. None of them has done that. But they are still enjoying white privilege. So it's easy to say, yeah, my forefathers had nothing to do with that. Why is Europe still rich then? Why has Europe not yet repaid us with 100 gazillion, billion, million, gazillion, billion, million, gazillion, billion, million, trillion, quadrillion tons money to Africa? They pay the Jews yearly. And it's not even that they pay the Jews. It's just we are stupid. The Jews pay themselves because they have the banks. If you could cash out a check on your own name, I'll be writing checks. I'll be writing checks. I'll make sure I get paid like 1,000 euros every minute. That's what they do. That's what they do. So read.
Psalm 137.
Go ahead.
Verse 7. Remember, O Yah,
Remember
the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon,
O daughter of Babylon,
who are to be destroyed.
So the prophet is saying, it is finished. You are to be destroyed.
Joyful.
That's why I said he will not gather no one from Europe. He will destroy Europe completely. So he says, oh daughter of Europe or Babylon, who ought to be destroyed.
Joyful shall he be that rewards thee as thou hast served us.
Go ahead. Next. I think that was the last one, right? Okay, next slide.
So the spirit of Yah identifies Edom with Babylon.
Now read this, because people are still wondering who is Edom, who is Babylon. So this is not something that I wrote. This is from the source. What is the source?
JewishHistory.com.
JewishHistory.com. And it says the spirit
of Elohim identifies Edom with Babylon.
It identifies Edom with Babylon. That is why you will see in Psalms 137 that speaking of Edom and Babylon in the same line.
So see Psalms 137, and it says, remember, O Yah, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, or make it bare, or destroy the temple, as Edom did under the Romans. And they also said, even to the foundation thereof. And it also says, O daughter of Babylon. Here we see without any possibility of mistake.
Here we see without any possibility of a mistake
that Edom is Babylon.
That Edom is Babylon.
And all sacred and profane history confirms this.
And all, once again, documented history confirms this.
Chaldea or Babylon
was
established by Assyria. The Assyrians descended from Taurus and Caucasus.
They call themselves Caucasians and Caucasus.
Conquered and destroyed Jerusalem.
They conquered and destroyed Jerusalem
together with Syria.
And
these, with Phoenicia, became the Roman Empire.
And you already know the Phoenicians are the Canaanites, who in them have the indwelling of the Nephilims. It's the same people. It's them. Go ahead.
And these with Phoenicia became the Roman Empire.
And these with Phoenicia became what we call the Romans. Go ahead.
And was called Chaldea.
And they were known as Chaldea.
As it was in the time of Yahushua under Tiberius Caesar. From the east, the Chaldeans or Romans peopled all the west.
From the east, the Chaldeans and the Romans, they peopled all the west. That is why the pinnacle of Europe's grandeur was the Roman age. So they say that they take their knowledge from the Romans and the Romans take theirs from the Greeks. So when Elohim says, ye have sold my people to the Grecians, it is the same kingdom. Continue reading.
So they peopled all the west. First Italy,
Rome, France,
Germany, England, and America.
Do you hear all the nations? So when the Jamaican says fire burn Babylon, he's saying fire burn Italy, fire burn Rome, fire burn Europe, fire burn Holland, fire burn Belgium, fire burn France, fire burn Germany, fire burn UK, fire burn America. That is what Babylon is. That is Babylon. And it just so happens to be that that is the number one ruling power in the world today. But we will get there. Continue reading.
Rome was founded by Romulus in 750 BC after Yahushua. No, sorry. Rome was founded by Romulus in 750 BC. So AD, after Yahushua in the year 325, Christianity became the established religion under Constantine. Hence Babylon.
Listen
Rome,
carefully. Hence Babylon,
Rome,
Edom,
and Christianity.
and Christianity
are synonymous.
That's what we're saying. That's why we say this religion, it makes no sense. How can the religion of the slave master be a righteous religion? You still don't understand. Christianity is a Roman religion. It is the Babylonian mystery school system. It is not the religion of Elohim. People still don't get that. In your Christianity, you celebrate Christmas, the worship of the sun. That was the deity of the Babylonians. In your religion, in your Christianity, you celebrate Easter, which is to the mother goddess, which is the religion of the Babylonians. In your religion, you must go to church on the Sunday, which is the worship of the sun, the Babylonian religion. Who you call Jesus, the New Testament also calls him by the name Apollyon, the god of the sun. You still don't know what you are doing. That is what you believe. That is what you worship. Continue reading.
History furthermore informs us that Edom was conquered by Albanius, king of Chittim or Kittim, and Edom became one under the children of Kittim from that day. And this is the reason the prophet Isaiah speaks in his 23rd chapter connectively of Edom and Kittim as one and the same place and people. See Isaiah 23 and compare these with Jeremiah 10.
Yes. So there was that the whole text? Jeremiah. Okay. And now you see the picture. You see the Statue of Liberty on the right, and you see the statue of Nimrod, as they portray him to be, on the left. So it says from Babylon to America. You're like, oh, what America? Next.
So this shows the book of Charles A. Wiseman.
So that you guys see that we have not done this.
Yeah.
There is an author called Charles H. Wiseman, and he wrote a text or a book called Who is Esau / Edom. Look at the pictures.
Yeah.
You see a Bantu man there? Who do you see?
What?
In the middle, all up there, on the upper middle, you see Karl Marx. He's the father of Marxism.
Yeah.
On the upper right, you see Jung, the father of psychotherapy and psychoanalysis. I think on the left, you have Nietzsche. So all of them Germans. So how can the Israelis go and possess the Germans if they are the same people? Based upon this guy's statement, all of these Bin Laden, but he's part of Gog and Magog, so I can understand. So all of them is Edom. I did not put it there. The guy wrote this hundreds of years ago and then he died. So go check out his book to understand what we are saying, so that you can know that we are not the inventors of this teaching. So next slide.
So the next question to be answered is, how will they be gathered?
So then, how will they be gathered?
2nd Esdras in the Apocrypha, chapter 12 from verse 11.
Listen.
The eagle whom thou sawest,
the eagle who you saw
come up from the sea,
is
the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel.
Is the vision,
is the kingdom
that your brother Daniel had. But Daniel wanted to know, and Uriel or Gabriel did not explain that to Daniel. But it was explained to Esdras hundreds of years later. So the fourth beast of Daniel, in the book of Esdras, he is revealed to be an eagle. Read.
Verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, the days will come that there shall rise up a kingdom upon earth, and it shall be feared above all the kingdoms that were before it.
Who is the most powerful nation in the world today? And who has been the most powerful nation in the world for the past 100 years?
Eagles of America.
There is no power in the world as strong as the Western power.
Mm-hmm.
And the head of the Western power is America. And they know, and they have coined the eagle to be their totem animal. Just like the Bakongos, we have the leopard.
Mm-hmm.
The Americans have the eagle as their totem animal. So when Armstrong landed on the moon, which was a hoax, he was like, the eagle has landed. You're like, oh, what do you mean? These people know prophecy far better than you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Almost every European nation once has the sign of the eagle. France had it under the days of the short guy. What's his name? Napoleon. That's where we get the term he has a Napoleon complex. It means you are short, but you're trying to be bigger than you are, because he was 105. He was a midget like this. Almost every European nation had a signal of the eagle, but especially America. So read all the prophecies.
So Obadiah 1,
Listen.
from 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle,
Though you exalt yourself as the eagle,
and though thou set thy nest among the stars.
who likes to go to the moon and plant flags? The eagle has landed. Has an African nation ever done this? No. Edom is obsessed with the heavens and the skies.
Mm-hmm.
Africa is only obsessed with prayer and tongues. All black people, all we do is prayer and tongues and spiritual battle. But physical battle, no strength, no money, nothing. But you just imagine the madness of the Bantu man in our days. We only do crazy stuff. Someone is there in a suit, he's like kabaya, hadeha, kaba, handa, kabalaba, handa, haba. You're like, why? So whilst Bill Gates is buying all the farms, white people are planning, let's go on a holiday to relax. The Bantu man is like, at midnight, I have spiritual battle. At midnight. So it's like no. Nay! But these are what we do. Spiritual battle. No, but it's crazy. And then you put a dog outside, and the Bantu man, you know, when we see dogs, we run. The white man doesn't do any spiritual battle. He sees a dog, he's like, hey. So look, this is not life anymore. But this is the life we live on a daily basis. So sometimes I understand that the nations consider us as, to be honest, I understand. Because the things we do is not normal. We are not normal. We are not normal people. I'm just being honest. Every black person is borderline mad. No. Have you seen a normal black person before? No, it's sad. Just observe. Go home. Have a chat with your mom for 2 minutes. 2 minutes from, hey ma, hoe gaat het? Hoe gaat het? Wat denk je aan? You will hear. Try to talk to your father. He's tired. Go to your sister. It's sad. Time, eh? Okay. Well,
Obadiah 1 from verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle,
though thou exalt thyself like the eagle,
and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down.
Elohim says, there you Edom, I will catch you. Elon Musk, all of you guys, I will catch you. I will bring you down.
How are the things of Esau?
This is how you can recognize Edom. Don't try to, oh, where are they? The Bible said, by their fruits,
You shall know them.
that's it. Even if you cannot pinpoint name, look at behavior. Israel will never meddle with stars and stuff. Israel's sin is idolatry. So the religion, so the stronghold of Israel will always be, you will find them in the place that has to do with service of a god. That is how you will catch Israel. And if you look at the world, the most religious people in the world are blacks. That is a known fact. That is how you identify Israel. The Bible never said they would stop worshiping. They would worship idols.
Yeah.
Just look around. You will see every black believes, especially in Jesus. That is the sin of Israel. But the sin of Edom is he will always be a man of war. He will always be a man of blood. He will always be a man that likes to go to the stars. So who likes to fight? It's whites. Who likes to make inventions? It's white. Who likes to go to the stars? It's that simple. It is that simple. So you will pinpoint Elon Musk, Bill Gates, you will pinpoint all of them by name. Those are the heads of Edom. And the nation that is ruling them all is America. Identified as the eagle, exactly how the Bible points them out. Continue reading.
2nd Esdras 15 from verse 34 on the next
think
slide.
I need like
Is it the next slide? What?
15 to 20 minutes. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
So, behold, clouds from the east.
Listen, guys. So Elohim is saying, how were they gathered? First, he will show you who Edom is, and then he will make sure he will send special clouds. He said, behold, clouds
From the east.
coming from the east,
And from the north.
and they will come from the north
Unto the south.
unto the south,
And they are very horrible to look upon.
and these clouds will be very horrible to look upon.
Full of wrath and storm.
It will be clouds, but the clouds are filled with destruction,
They shall smite one upon another.
and they will be thrown. Can you throw clouds? They will be thrown upon another,
And they shall smite one upon another.
and they will smite. So one nation will smite a cloud upon another nation,
And they shall smite down a great multitude of stars
and these clouds will bring down a great multitude of stars
upon the earth,
upon the earth,
even their own star.
even their own star.
And blood shall be from the sword unto the belly.
And the result of this means there will be blood and there will be a sword, meaning there will be an uprising of wars, nations against nations.
Verse 40.
Verse 40.
The great and mighty cloud
Listen, this great and mighty cloud,
shall be puffed up full of wrath,
it will be increased, filled with anger.
and the star
And the star
that they make,
so this will be a star that can be made.
and the star that they may
Have
make.
you ever made a star? So he's saying this will be a star fabricated by men. And this star will bring about a cloud. And this will bring about destruction. And it will kill many. Go ahead.
That they may make all the earth afraid.
And this star that they will make, it will make all the world afraid.
And them that dwell therein.
And them that are living there.
And they shall pour out over every high and eminent place a horrible star.
You see? And over every high and eminent place, they will throw this star that they have made.
Fire and hail.
And this star will bring about fire and hail.
And flying swords.
And it will be swords that are flying.
And many waters.
And many waters.
That all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters.
Go ahead.
And they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the wood and grass of the meadows, and their corn. And they shall go steadfastly
towards
unto Babylon.
So all that this is prophetic language. In plain language, All that it means is the picture you are seeing there. They will make weapons. And one of the deadliest weapons they will make, which they have already made, is the nuclear bomb.
The star.
And when a nuclear bomb drops, that is the after effect. You will see smoke coming up and you will see a cloud. Look at how perfect the prophet is describing it. So if you go home, you type mushroom cloud, that is the effect that a nuclear bomb leaves when it is dropped. So you will see the city. This is Europe. And when one nation will come against another, Russia and them, and they will throw a bomb and they will send it towards America, it will destroy America. New York, your beloved city, all of that will be destroyed by a nuclear bomb. And it will bring about the fulfillment of Revelation 17 and 18. So Elohim will do this, and it will bring about a nuclear weapon destruction of America. Continue reading.
And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon, and make her afraid. Verse 44. And they shall come to her, and beseech her. The star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up unto heaven, and all they that be about her shall bewail her.
And all the other European nations, when they will see America, the biggest consumer, the superpower being destroyed, all of them Tony Blairs and them Mark Rutte and them, all the world leaders will look and they will weep for America. This has been the destruction of the greatest nation that the world has ever seen. The rulers and the bringers of democracy have been destroyed. What a calamity. And then CNN and all of them, that's what they will be saying. That's what they will be saying. That's what they will be saying. You think they are broadcasting from just one place? Huh? Go ahead.
Zechariah chapter 14 from 12.
Zechariah 14 and 12.
And this shall be the plague.
This will be the plague.
Wherewith Yah will smite all the people
wherewith
that have fought
Elohim
against Jerusalem.
will smite all the enemies of Israel.
Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. And their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue will consume away in their mouth.
That's what happens when a nuclear bomb touches flesh. Continue reading.
Going to the next slide.
Next slide.
Jeremiah 51 from 6.
And then when the destruction begins to take place in America, slowly also in other parts of Babylon, which is the Western world, which is Europe, Elohim then begins to speak. Go ahead.
Flee.
And Elohim begins to tell his people, Bantus, refugees that hid themselves, whether you are in Europe or whatsoever, he is saying, run
from the midst of Babylon.
So you think that the gathering will be, Elohim will send angels, that Michael has the time to coordinate all the angels. Hey, go take Arike for me, go take Brittany for me, go take Talisa for me, and fly them over to Jerusalem. No. How did Elohim save the people of Israel out of Egypt? Did angels come and carry them on eagle's wings? Which eagle's wings? You want to run from the wings of the eagle. So what happened? Elohim sent a prophet. And by the word of the prophet, the people heeded that destruction is coming. And so they followed the prophet and they went out physically out of Egypt. So what will happen? In the days when the seventh angel will begin to sound, all the true messengers of Elohim will hear the hidden. And the spirit of truth, who is their friend, will begin to tell them, Son of man, you and the people that are under you must make ready to go. So the Son of Man then will begin to preach, sound a message, just like Noah did. Thus said Elohim, soon and very soon, this place will be no more. I've been sent to you. Make ready, prepare, for we must go. So then, all the people who are lucky, who have a voice of Elohim in their midst, they will make ready. And they will begin to what? Leave Babylon. So there will be a mass exodus of Bantus. going away from Germany, Holland, France, UK, wheresoever they are, except for America, because all of them will be dead. Yeah. America, dead. The neighboring countries, Costa Rica, Chile, Dominican Republic, it will even hit Jamaica and all of gone. Suriname people, I'm sorry. It will hit them as well. Canada, gone. Alaska, gone. So you should just forget America. It will be more about the people that are in Europe and stuff. And he will begin to speak and they will have to run. Buy your own ticket and flee. That's what will happen. So continue reading.
Jeremiah 51 from 6. Flee from the midst of Babylon.
Flee from the midst of Babylon.
And everyone save his life.
You know why it is not saying flee from Africa? Because Elohim has been gathering the other Bantus already. We that are already found in the borders of Africa, that is what Elohim calls my borders. That is Africa already. So as for us, we will migrate by foot, but we don't have to flee that anymore. So he will gather all of us in what he calls the wilderness, which is Africa. The most people he has already gathered, but it is especially the descendants of our people, those that were sold as slaves. They are the ones who he will try to call, but many of them are super rebellious. But I know, man, Ubaduya. That Ubaduya, Elena, is dangerous. It's Abadu. It's dangerous. It's stubborn. All they want is they want to quest chick. So like, give questa. Hey, Bantus, man. Wow. Someone's specialty is a quest. Lay. So read.
Do not be cut off in her iniquity.
Do not be cut off in her iniquity.
For this is the time of Yah's vengeance.
For this is the time of Elohim's vengeance.
And he shall recompense her. We would have healed Babylon in verse 9, but she is not healed.
Oh, we have conquered Amsterdam for Christ. The angel is like, guys, we would have healed Babylon.
But she is not healed.
There is no blood of Jesus that can forgive what Babylon did. There is none. There is no prophet alive or dead that can intercede for Babylon. That's why it's just, you guys, you don't know what they did. It's so funny to you. You don't know what they did. You plunder my land, my nation, my people. Fine. But then you take my seed. You use it as bait to feed your crocodiles. You already take my gold. You already taken everything, fine. But you are so angry with me for something that I don't know that you take a human being, you put a horse on the left, a horse on the right, and you strike the horse and you cut. So the evil that has been done is that you don't know. But the watchers who don't sleep nor slumber, they wrote down everything. And because every angel, or because every human being and every child of Elohim has a guardian angel, that angel was there when the person was being tormented. So the angel took that cry and he went up to Yah. So now Yah has millions of guardian angels who up until today are weeping on the altar. So Revelation 6 then comes into play that these angels till today are crying. From Elohim, when will you avenge? So that is why the angel said we would have healed Babylon, but because of the cries of these holy ones,
she is not healed.
it is impossible.
Forsake her.
People, why do you think Elohim is so vehemently saying, I will destroy Babylon? This is a prophecy which cannot be broken. He says, I will destroy Babylon. This is why we keep on saying, Europe is finished. So when they are enjoying now, don't be envious of Europe. Because you don't know what is coming. Soon and very soon, we who are envious of Europe, even we will pray to Elohim. We will say, Elohim, please stop. It is enough. And he will say, no, it is not enough. Soon we will begin to plead to Elohim and say, forgive them, it is enough. He will say, no. The blood of your ancestors is upon them. It's not easy to take a human life. It is now in this world of Edom that the black man's life is worth nothing.
Yeah.
But it is okay, because to the angels it is precious. So they, since they do not sleep nor slumber, up until today they lament. So these are the things. Read.
Verse 9. You would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one to his own country. For her judgment reaches the heaven.
Her judgment has reached the heavens.
And is lifted up to the skies.
Go ahead. So there you see the picture. This is the mass exodus. This is the mass exodus. The people will begin to flee. All of them, those that are already in Africa will remain there. And the others that are yet to go, all of them will begin to flee towards Africa. Those are the place of the mountains. Next.
Ezekiel 20 from verse 34.
And now listen, we are closing. I think 5 minutes and then we are done.
I will bring you out from the people.
Here Elohim is saying, I will bring you out
from the people.
It is I.
I will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people.
And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people.
And there will I plead with you face to face.
And there Elohim said, the days of Exodus in the book of Moses will come before me again. And there once again I will plead with you, meaning we will have the physical visitations of Elohim once again. And on the same mountain where he spoke to us, on the mountain of the moons, there again Elohim will speak to his people.
Like as I pleaded with your fathers.
Like as I pleaded with your fathers.
In the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, said the sovereign Yah. And I will cause you to pass under the rod.
Elohim is saying, I will discipline you.
And I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
We are no longer under the law. You see what Elohim says? He said, because I know you will be lawless Christians, when I will bring you once again under the bond
of the covenant.
Meaning you will keep the laws. It's either you keep the law or you die. Just like it was in the days of old. You had to keep the laws in Israel. Go ahead.
And I will purge out from among you the rebels.
And from amongst you I will kill all the rebels.
And them that transgress against me.
Go ahead.
And I will bring them forth out of the country wherein they sojourn.
Go ahead.
And they shall not enter into the land of Israel. And ye shall know that I am Yah.
Read. Was that it? Next slide.
So when will they be gathered?
Okay, this is quick.
During the time of the
end. Sharp, like Sharon, sharp.
During the time of the end, There will be the great destruction of a world empire,
America.
killing about 1/4 of the world population, plunging the world into civil wars and the rise of the son of perdition. During his reign, the false prophet and the reign of the anti-Messiah will be at its peak, and about 1/3 of mankind will be killed due to wars. This time will be so wicked and lawless that Elohim will send his two beloved for a final witness.
We will deal with the topic of the two witnesses in the coming times.
After the end of their ministry, there is the great earthquake killing millions of people. After that, as we are about to enter into the final seal, that period is what is called the Day of Yah, the fourth great war, or the Armageddon, which will make the end of the Gentile dynasty and the entering in of the 1,000-year kingdom of Yahushua HaMashiach.
1,000 years in quotes.
In quotes.
So, was that the final slide? Or I think there's one more.
There are Bible verses there, but we kind of
okay
read them.
Okay. So, people, because of time, no, this one, it's done 4 verses. Okay. No, because of time, we have to stop.
The last one.
Get me the one with the unwalled villages.
Ezekiel.
It's there. And listen to what he says. 5 minutes, then we're done. It's a last slide.
Yeah, just keep the last slide on. I'll just read it from
Listen.
my own Bible. So Ezekiel chapter 38, starting from verse 1. And the word of Yah came unto me, saying,
Listen.
Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him.
Gog and Magog is basically nothing else but the Western world, but how they will be when America is removed. Because how America is removed, then Asia and Russia and them will play a more dominant role. So it is still Gog and Magog, which is still the Caucasian nation, including China, Russia, and stuff.
Going to verse 10. Thus saith Yah, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages.
So what will happen then is, when all the Bantus who are fleeing from Babylon will gather and they will be found in Africa, and Elohim is there purging them, all the other nations will be like, what is happened here? Why are all these Negroes gone? And then an evil thought will enter into their mind. They'll be like, let's go and collect these people once again. So then all of them, Elohim will draw them to the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is in Africa. So then, when Elohim is dealing with his people, the other nations will come. And all of them will also come. So the place of wars, the valley of kings, is in Africa. That is where there will be a clashing. Read.
And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages.
Listen, just to prove that it is Africa. He said, I will go to the
land
of
unwalled villages.
Have you seen Israel? Israel has walls protecting them. Do you know who doesn't have walls? Do you know who doesn't have infrastructure? you already know. I don't need to mention the people. Africa doesn't have infrastructure. If you don't even have roads, how can you have walls? Huh? We don't have walls. So when he said, I will go to the what?
To the land of unwalled villages.
To the land of, it even says villages. We will go to the land of unwalled villages. Africa has no walls. And the villages don't even have sand. Go ahead.
I will go to them that are at rest.
I will go to them that are just chilling. No electricity. They have nothing to do.
That dwell safely.
They dwell in their borders.
All of them dwelling without walls.
All of them, they have no walls.
And having neither bars nor gates.
We don't have bars nor gates. It's Africa.
To take a spoil.
To take a spoil. Listen at how crazy it is. It will be a place where there are no walls. They will have no bars nor gates, yet they will have riches. What people and what continent and what country is that? It's Africa. Because we have everything under the ground, but we are broke. So he said we will go there and we will take a spoil.
They will come to take a spoil.
They will come to take a spoil.
And to take a prey.
And to take a prey.
To turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations.
You see? Go ahead.
Which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. Sheba and Dedan and the merchant of Tarshish, with all the young lions thereof, shall say unto thee, art thou come to take a spoil? Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey, to carry away silver and gold?
You see what they will carry away? A nation that has no walls, no fences, no bars, yet they have silver
and gold.
Because of time, just look at the picture. Just type Berlin Conference. You will see what they did.
Yeah.
Africa is in the hands of Edom. Edom have spoiled us. And because of that, Elohim said, I will revenge for what has been done to you. So people, if the Bantus are not the people of the book, then no one is. So these are how Elohim will gather his people. To be continued. Shalom. Shalom.
Thank you very much, Minister, once again for the message that was just shared. Was a lot of information we saw in the Old Testament, who was going to be gathered, when they will be gathered, how they will be gathered. We also zoomed into Edom, who's Edom now, Esau and Babylon, the system that we are living in. We are drawing to the end days, and we see that calamity is going everywhere, and Europe has been spared so far. So how much time do we still have left? I hope that the message that was just shared will spark your mind, make you think about it, and make you also observe the times around. We'd like to thank our listeners for joining us today. Let us know what you took out of the message. Drop it in the comment section or send us a message via either Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Know that you can revisit this and older messages on our SoundCloud and on our YouTube, because we have discussed and we dealt with a lot of topics concerning Edom, Esau, Babylon, the Hebrews. Who are the Hebrews? Take all these teachings with you, and I hope it may identify the right people in your life, and also the right people who are in the book. So keep on sharing, keep on telling your friends, family, colleagues, and also your assembly members. Next week, we will dive into a brand new topic. Then we'll look at the gathering of the saints in the New Testament. So keep an eye on our social media to follow us and see our weekly update. This was the Hour of Restoration, coming to you each and every Sabbath from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Thank you very, very much.
Good evening. To school.